What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another GEST May replay featuring Mineski versus Orange. I feel like I've cast this matchup probably about 4 or 5 times in Dota 1, but still, it's a very, very fun matchup. This is a recommended replay on GhostofGamers.net. This is part of the Gigabyte Esports monthly tournament presented by GhostofGamers.net, casted by Gods, and in the replay link below, there will be a link to Gods if you click that replay link to Gods' VOD, so check him out. Gods is a really awesome caster. So check him out, guys. And anyway, I am going to be casting this game by myself, flying solo, forever alone. But Luminous had to do other stuff for this time, so anyway, let's get right into it. And anyway, he's a little bit of an Orange hater. Meanwhile, I'm a pretty big fan of Orange. Keep in mind that in Dota 1, KYXY is replacing Yamate, and in Dota 2, vice versa. So Yamate only plays Dota 2, so he will most likely be going to the International. I'm not really too sure if KYXY will go to the International as well. Maybe he'll go as a strategy coach or whatever. So enough of the introduction. This is quite a long match, so I skipped through the picks and bans. Just a couple things to note. Naga was first banned by Orange, recognizing that this is a very, very common pick in the Filipino scene. And Filipinos are pretty much the only country that still release their replays publicly. I know if you go on Mineski.net, you can often find all of the GMPGL matches featuring some very, very top Filipino teams. So in this match, Orange will be taking on Mineski, so they've clearly done some research, and we can see that Mineski went with their trademark mid-game lineup. Queen of Pain, of course, the dominating Filipino hero who just owns, and Tiny, which is a pretty stable Mineski pick. I'm not really... Well, I'm a tiny bit surprised to see that Orange did not ban him. We'll see how he fares out. And a couple of things to note is that all these heroes need experience except for Earthshaker. Rubik is a hero who can support quite well. I guess he doesn't really need as much experience. This is my first replay casting with a Rubik in it, so I'm going to be really interested to see how he works out. And just judging by the other team, there aren't any really game-breaking ultimates that he can steal. Maybe Mass Serpent Wards, maybe he can... I mean, if he's still waveform, that's always good to have that initiation escape mechanism. But just the amount of burst damage and the null field that will help increase the magical resistance by his team, or will decrease the enemy's team. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But yes, null field in conjunction with Rubik is quite a combination. And with all the magical damage that is on Mineski's side, and considering that Orange's lineup is quite squishy, only Morphling gets pretty tank, Rubik can be quite a deadly presence, but I'm going to be really interested to see how they lane. It's mostly likely Tiny solo mid and Queen of Pain solo top against some sort of lineup. And we'll be interested to see how Orange decides to lane, if they're going to do the conventional Shyline strategy that's very popular in the Filipino scene, or if Orange is going to stick to a more traditional dual lane setup with a jungler and enchantress. Maybe they'll even go double jungle. I haven't seen Orange play Dota 1 in a bit, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that fares out. So let's get right into this game, and I'm going to unpause right now. I don't know why I told you that, guys. It's not like Luminous is here to unpause with, but yeah. And to my knowledge, I think I'm only DC caster who still regularly casts Dota 1 games. But I do have a Dota 2 series that's coming up very soon. Actually, I always say, oh, this is coming out pretty soon. But this Dota 2 series will be coming out within the next 1.5 days. Much thanks to Adri for getting me that series. But anyway, just introducing the players and the teams. Mineski is on the Sentinel side. Nando, the Queen of Pain player, is going to be playing that Queen of Pain. Derp. Meanwhile, RR is going to be playing the Rubik. And Jay is going to be playing the Tiny. Oa is going to be playing the Windrunner, and Earthshaker might be in a little trouble. Woots is going to be playing the Earthshaker, but no, Morphling is just going to chill out. So we're going to have an Enchantress top jungle with the dual lane supporting the Morphling, not an uncommon lane setup to support the Morphling. Extinct is going to be playing the Enchantress. Ice is going to be playing the Venture Spirit traditional support role. Mushi playing the Morphling. KYXY playing that Soul Mid Rasta. He is the only player on Orange who does not play Dota 2, or not Dota 2 with the team Orange Esports, and which is going to be playing the Furion, the Prophet of Awesomeness. So already we can see that if it goes late game, then Orange should have a clear advantage. But keep in mind Mineski's style, very, very aggressive, very, very gank heavy. And considering the amount of burst damage that is on their side, they can really do a number on these squishy spore heroes. And already Morphling is trapped, isolated from his teammates. Venture Spirit canceling the magic missile, and Morphling does not want to have to use a waveform just to escape out of the fissure. He really wants to keep it in the lane. But in order to not sacrifice that mana, he's going to take a couple more pot shots, and he's already going to have to use probably another tango. But he started out with the Wraith Band, two Ironwood branches, and some tangos. Varied the tangos by his teammate. Meanwhile, KYXI versus Tiny. KYXI should have the advantage. Of course, Tiny, he did not go for a very, very fast bottle build, so he's going to have to last hit bits and try to get some avalanche slash toss creep kills before he picks up that bottle. But when he does, expect to see bottle throwing rune, so control won't be as important because Mineski will be bottle throwing it up. But if this was not a Southeast Asian Dota match, then expect to see that Rasta should be able to control the rune quite well because he has that Ether Shock, which is more spammable, and he is an intelligence hero, so he has more mana to spam. So I expect to see that Jay will have a little bit of trouble. I don't know if Rasta should be able to kill him. I don't really expect Rasta to kill him. Rasta has very, very low move speed. I think it's around 280 or 285, one of the lowest in the game. So he shouldn't be able to catch up with Tiny and get him off. That sounded oh so wrong, and very, very unlucky avalanche by Jay. It's not even going to be able to kill the Tiny. Meanwhile, there's going to be a lot of harassment. Looks like Winner gets Magic Missile. Let's see if Mushi can pump out some physical harassment. And Enchantress, nice block, but looks like Mushi waveforms it up, but the net, two nets, two trolls casting nets. I did not even see that Enchantress had two trolls, but this is the power of Enchantress over Shen. Not only can he push much, much faster than Shen, early on, you can just get two trolls and gank and kill a very, very hard to kill hero. And considering the amount of burst damage that is on their team, I mean, Magic Missile and Waveform doesn't do the best amount of damage in the early stage of the game. And Magic Missile, of course, you have to get in position. Maybe Vengeful Spirit uses some for harassment. No, she has another one in the bank. But both of nets were extremely necessary in this case. Magic Missile was cooling down, so Enchantress picking up two Troll Warlords right off the bat and just using the skeletons to tank some of the Satyr Soul Stealer damage is going to be a nice job in that. And meanwhile, Mineski, they are going with a dual lane. Earthshaker was supporting the winner up top, so not the traditional Mineski tri-lane. I failed to even mention that, but Nando is going to be farming it up against the Furion. And considering that Nando has a better innate harassment skill in the form of Shadow Strike, a better creep clearing ability in the early game through the Scream of Pain, and better mobility with that blade, I expect him to win the lane, pick up a fast bottle, and just start bottle curling it up. If not, pick up some runes on the bottle lane. You can see that Winter is already putting the scout at the rune, and just realizes, oh wait, it's 243, the rune's not even going to be spawning. So Mineski employing an unusual strategy for them. They are not, in fact, going for that tri-lane versus tri-lane setup that they so love to employ. Instead, they are opting, okay, we have experience-dependent heroes in the form of Queen of Pain and Rubik. To be honest, guys, I have not played Rubik too much, but Rubik seems like a hero who does need some experience. He's not like an Earthshaker who needs, like, next to no experience until level 6 or level 11, and then just a dagger, and he'll be fine after that. Rubik is a hero who does need quite a bit of experience. You can see double the flying curves being picked up already, so I expect to see a bottle being shipped out to the Queen of Pain. And Nando should have no trouble in terms of controlling the lane, so already top lane's being won by Orange. Mid lane should be in Orange's advantage, and we see a smoke gank coming around by Enchantress. Let's see if there was a ward by Mineski. Is scouting that out? No. Yeah, there was a ward by Mineski, but I don't know if it scouted out the smoke to see, but that might just provide a false sense of security. Meanwhile, Jay dies once more to KYXY. So, or Jay did not die once more. Jay died for the first time with the help of Winter coming in for a Furion teleport gank. My bad for missing that. I'm still a little bit unused to that. Meanwhile, there's going to be a gank in the jungle. Earthshaker surrounded on all sides, and Orange Ice came up from behind to get a magic missile, and the shockwave comes to help secure the kill. So, looks like Orange is going to try to get an early tower push in the form of this Enchantress, and you can see that Winter summoned the trees very early on. Of course, that's going to give Nando very, very free lane, and Winter, Oa has to be very careful. Mushi picks up a very easy kill, and I'm a little bit surprised. I guess he didn't see the hero movement. I'm not really too sure how much of that ward did not see the hero movement, but considering that that ward did not scout the movement back towards the mid lanes, I think, who's that player? Oh, I should have been a little bit more on his guard just to see, hey, the ward did not see the other heroes go back to the mid lane. I should probably be careful, not just teleport in the middle and feed once more to Mushi. And Mushi is probably, I think right now, Malaysia's best player, I think, still. So you really don't want to give him any openings. I don't know if it's too arrogant for me to say Mushi is Malaysia's best player. Of course, there are a lot of differences of opinions. I think Jay, when he's hot and when he's in the zone, he can be extremely devastating. I mean, you've seen that game where I casted Jay's Winrar where he was just juking all over the place, just clearly baiting. But nice job by Nando and Ruvik to push down a tower. Nando, of course, the 13-year-old Wonder Child prodigy, very precocious Dota player, so he might have a long, bright future in Dota ahead of him, so keep an eye out for him. But anyway, enough of the enough of the player praising, or if I were to use more cruder terms, which I will not, because this is, of course, a PG-13 broadcast. You know what? Fuck that. It's not even a PG-13. It's fucking R, bitches. Let's go. Anyway, Tiny is just having a miserable time. Had managed to pick up the boots and the bottle, 17 crew kills, so not doing the worst. But KYX like 31-7, and his wards did a lot of damage. And keep in mind that the tower is hitting these wards. The heroes are not even picking it up, so it's not even free gold. So with that tower being brought down by about 1k HP, so this tower in the next push will go down in the blink of an eye unless there's a lot of defense. And looks like Mushi's going to try to control the lane versus Nando. And Nando, having lower HP, not having Morph to help him out, is going to have to retreat right now. But looks like Fearon's going to teleport in, cast a Sprout, but of course Nando just saves the blink and blinks out. And Mushi doesn't want to bother to chase if he doesn't have vision. So Nando's going to retreat, has the strength treads to help him in lane. Let's see what Mushi decides to build. He built the Stand Ravenclaw, and looks like he's going to go for the Stand Perseverance into Lincoln Sphere build. And I mean, be good against Telekinesis, Shadow Strike, Shackle Shot, and if the Fissure is targeted at him, which it probably won't be, it'll just be ground targeted. But Lincoln Sphere just doing a nice job in terms of helping Morphling keep up that mana regen, I think is probably the biggest part in a game like this. Add the mana regen to clear down massive amounts of creep waves in the early part of the game and just push out like bosses. Meanwhile, 0-5 in favor of Orange, and we see Loots going down immediately, and Jay fell in the initial part of the end in that engagement, but meanwhile Nano teleports in with a Blink Screen Pain and poor telekinesis placement as the Vengeful Spirit did not get pulled back in towards, but one more hit and the chasing powers of telekinesis Rubik and Nando managed to pick up an easy kill, and Nando's going to go on the offensive, blinks in just to scout out, see where KXI went, but KXI standing very close to the tower, so he won't be in too much danger. So, a little nice bit of rebuttal. It was 0-5 in favor of Orange, so Mineski clearly sensed, okay, let's get some counter ganks going on. I mean, they didn't see, oh, 0-5. I mean, let's just start counter ganking now. They reacted to the initial ganks by Orange, and we see that Fearon is having a little bit of trouble. He's level 5, and we see Nando going in for the kill for Fearon. One more hit, but nice shackle by Rasta, and why no stun by Jay, but looks like Rasta's going to take the fall anyway. A couple more hits. He's juking as much damage as he can, but the Fissure by Woot's going to be able to pick up a kill one more time. Growth is being leveled up, going to give him a bit more move speed and a bit more toss the damage increase, but he's not going to be able to toss back the Enchantress because Nando has teleported out. Ice is there to give in some reinforcements, and Pink, the Enchantress, was at full HP, so I don't know if he would have died. Anyway, we're going to see some Fissure canceling by Woots as this game turning quite chaotic, but keep in mind, Mushi has 51 CS, 8 minutes to the game, farming like an absolute beast, and just checking out his gold really fast. He already has 1,200 gold in the bank. He has 1 hero kill. He did get the second blood, so he didn't get the first blood, and he killed the courier. But keep in mind that in the 6.74 version of this patch, that if you kill one courier and you kill the other courier, you won't get gold for the second courier. So a little bit of a usage for, not throwing the game by massing up couriers to give the opponents massive amounts of gold without the courier shield. And it also helps the Filipino style of Dota, even though the courier shield is gone. But Mushi is just going to go on an absolute rampage. He's going to pick up his Perseverance quite fast, or considering that he's not usually using his mana to its fullest, yeah, he just picks up the Perseverance, so he's not going to go straight for the Ultimate Orb. And meanwhile, the lanes are actually pushed in favor of Orange, so KYXI is going to farm a bit, 40-7, picked up the Arcane Moves very, very quickly, and Fearon's going to go back in jungle, not even level 6, so Fearon is having a miserable time on that bot lane, as is to be expected against a Queen of Pain with the help of the Rubik. So just to go on a little bit of a tangent with Rubik, I'm not really too sure. I mean, when Rubik first came out, we all thought he was extremely broken, myself included, but I think Luna summed it up best when you say, okay, good game-breaking ultimates, like Tidehunter Ravage, like Tree and whatever, as looks like, oh, it's going to be a lot of trouble. Nice bit of tree blocking, going to be able to catch that off, and let's see, yes, KYX comes in from the rear to get an Ether Shock, so nice blocking, nice stalling by Extinct and the Treants to help deny the experience. Actually, that was just Sentinel's creep, so a little bit of misfortunate play by a little bit of misfortune for Mineski as the Sentinel creeps betrayed their ally. You could never really trust those little tree bastards, those tree huggers. I mean, seriously. Look at those faces. You can't trust it. You can't trust anybody. If you can't trust the ghouls, who can you trust? Definitely can't trust the trees. As the teleport's gonna usher away Nando, so Nando can't pick up a tower. And just in terms of how the pace of the game is going, it really favors Orange Esports at the moment. I mean, Mushi has not been ganked, has not died, but that might change very, very soon. But Mushi does have enough mana to drop away from him as the Echo Slam is being dropped. Let's see if, oh, Sonic Wave and an auto attack, nicely done. A lot of burst damage being popped, and Mushi did not have the good enough reflexes to cast off that morph, and even if he did, I don't even know if that would have been too effective. Or he didn't even cast waveform, he used waveform, it was on cooldown to farm. But looks like the orange ganking squad's going to come for Jay. Looks like they're going to turn in for Rubik. If Tornado's being casted already, a little bit of a misplay right there. As the swap's going to go down, Magic Missile cast once more, and RR is going to be in a world of hurt. And meanwhile, Jay retreats to the west and just gets the heck out of there. As this tower in the mid lane will be going down very, very shortly. Enchantress coming in with a creep, and the Command Aura by Venture Spirit going to give them a lot of burst damage. Level 1 Command Aura, so it's not really too big of a deal. But it's some extra damage nonetheless. Meanwhile, just Nando and Woot's recognizing that, okay, we're not doing too well in terms of protecting that mid lane. Let's just try to push down top, but it looks like a nice teleport in by Winter. They're going to be able to pick up a kill on Woot's. Echo Slam is down, so Mushi gets a revenge kill. And keep in mind, he didn't have any sort of streak. He just lost a lot of time for farming. But still, Mushi has 63 CS, 2 kills, 1 death, so he's still firing pretty effectively. And he's switched to agility trades. Let's see if Nando can pick up one more hit. Oh, Mushi gets the deny. Yes, nicely done by Mushi. I think there should have been a little bit more mind games, but Nando's just going to teleport out, leaving Mushi to free farm a bit more. Meanwhile, Jay is not having a good time whatsoever, 41-7. But Tiny, if he doesn't get off to a really, really fast start, he's not going to be too effective. Of course, we've seen in Dota 2, Tiny's actually be extremely effective late game. If you've seen any Korok Tiny games, not Kuroki or Korok. Korok from the US team Quantic. You've seen his Tiny just go on absolute rampages with AC and Mask of Madness and Aghanim Scepter, just that massive amount of cleave damage. So Tiny is a very, very strong late game hero, considering he gets a lot of early base damage, and he gets a decent amount of armor, which is probably his biggest weakness in the early game, that lack of armor. So wards are going to be used to clear down Roshan very, very quickly. Mineski, they do not have a ward to recognize that this is happening, but all the heroes were missing, so they are not going to respond in time. They're just going to group up, and Xiao Shaman takes the Aegis Immortal. And Xiao Shaman getting the Aegis this early, I really like this choice. He went very aggressive with that Blink Dagger, and considering that this early in the game, meanwhile Mushi's getting chain stunned so hard, but he managed to pull off the morph, and meanwhile blinking by Xiao Shaman, going to try to get a kill on ASD, but not enough support, and looks like Xiao Shaman's going to lose his Aegis very, very quickly. No, wands up, Echo Slam being dropped once again as the power shot's going to be used to clean up Xiao Shaman right off the bat. But this is the good thing about Xiao Shaman with Aegis so early on. Gonna have full mana to cast Shackles and Hexes, as Ice is gonna be in a lot of trouble. Oh, the Scream Pain whiffed! Whiffed! A little bit unfortunate for Nando, just barely outside the AoE. Toss is just using Harassment as Enchantress is starting to throw down some pure damage, just doing a lot of physical damage to Enchantress. Enchantress is gonna have to win run out of there, and yes, it's just gonna win run out of there, escaping the wrath of the opposing heroes. Unfortunate for Nando. Misjudging distance on the Screaming Pains, and keep in mind this is not a LAN setting. The GEST is an online tournament, GMPGL is a LAN tournament, but this is from GEST, so why am I still talking about it? So 4-10 in favor of Orange. Mushi's only died once, Aegis already taken by Orange, and Orange does have a tower lead. No, towers are even. One mid lane, one bot lane, but Dire or Scourge having the national Roshan advantage with this tower, and middle tower going to give them easy access. So losing this first tier 1 tower is not hugely important. Losing this tier 1 top tower is not really going to affect too much at all whatsoever. Meanwhile, mid lane for Mineski being lost is pretty important, giving them, and this tier 1 on the bot lane going to give them a really, really difficult time in terms of reinforcing to Roshan engagements. Tossing in for Earthshaker, going to not be able to drop the fissure, that casting animation being too long as Hex instant cast and the massive amount burst damage as the Winter casted that Wrath of Nature, and the impetus damage is going to be able to kill that Earthshaker very, very quickly. So Mineski, I think they're in a bit of trouble right now, and considering Jay is not having the fantastic start that he usually has, Tiny's not going to be able to go on his usual mid-game rampage. Just every time he picks up that Blink Dagger, just gets a rune, just gets an immediate kill. And Orange is just doing a nice job of just controlling where they think Mineski will be able to go, having wards up everywhere. I mean, ward up here, In the early game, I saw Orange have a lot of wards. And Shackle's going to be dropped as Nano gets bursted down. Mushi gets a waveform in, and Orange Ice picks up a kill. So really, really nice ganking by the Orange side. And this is Orange is going to try to beat Mineski at its own game. We saw Stars Woba try to employ this strategy, and they just sort of fell apart in the late game, just on the back of some misplays. But Mineski is a very, very calm and composed team, in my opinion. They can make comebacks along with any other team. So keep in mind this game is still far from over, but right now it's clearly favoring Orange, and Mushi's just going to have a massive amount of free farm on the top lane. And just one thing to note in regards to Winter, how he's playing, he's not dropping the Wrath of Nature to farm, he's just dropping the Wrath of Nature to get some kills like he did with that Earthshaker on the middle lane. So nicely done. Just going to give Mushi a massive amount of farm, already almost up to 100 CS in about... wow, he's going to have 100 CS by 17 minutes. Ridiculous farm. Going to be able probably to get 120 CS by 20 minutes, which is well above the 5 CS. It's going to be 6 CS per minute if he manages to get that. So Mushi going to be able to pick up the Lincoln Sphere very, very quickly. 1100 gold in the bank. I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Ultimate Orb was already yet. Ultimate Orb is on the Crow, which is not a Mini Viper, unfortunately. Mineski clearly realizing, okay, we're in the disadvantage. Let's just try to run out. Going to get a gank. They're going to be able to pick up Ice relatively easily. After Nature is going to do some residual damage to Mineski's squad, but none of them are too low HP. So now that Mineski continues their worth path, KOXI, let's see if he senses the danger. Nando blinks in immediately, drops the Scream of Pain. Dagger is going to be cancelled, so I think KYXI is surely going to take the fall. So nice tower kicking, nice use of the Smoker Deceit by Mineski. No wards for Orange scouting that out. And the wards for RR, he spell stole the wards as a little bit of a mistake. When did he steal those wards? Maybe in the middle lane engagement. I don't remember the last time. As just a telekinesis gank as Winter takes the fall immediately, and with the wards and on the back of the massive amount of burst damage, Mineski make a giant comeback. And Mineski, one of the best teams in terms of swinging the momentum, just back in favor. I still think that Orange is in a hefty lead, but with 3 hero kills, they'll be able to do. I don't think they'll be able to take down the star, but they'll be able to do a good amount of damage to it, considering they don't have too much physical damage, and Tiny does not have any sort of like attack speed items. I mean, it does about 300 damage to towers, or 200 damage with that massive amount of fist damage, with his base attack damage. Let's see how many times I can say damage before it just wears on your guys' nerves. But Mushi picks up the Lincoln Sphere. Just going to check out the overall farm comparisons on each team. 105 for Mushi, by far the highest game. But other than that, I mean, Orange is not doing too well. Let's just check out the neutral kills on Winter. Only 23. So the overall farm distribution in Mineski's favor, 86, 77, 56. So 3 and 2. So KYXI and Mushi, the primary farmers. As looks like Orange want to reclaim some of the momentum as the ward was not able to scout out the smoke gank. So nice return gank, killing Nando, getting the killing spree streak, and most importantly, ensuring that Nando stays dead for 45 seconds, which is pretty important considering Nando's gotten a lot of these kills and is clearly the most farmed hero on his team. So with Nando's death, I think Orange will be able to push this tower, but it looks like Mineski, they want to get some reinforcements. Jay has picked up the Blink Dagger, so let's see if we can get a Blink initiation. Let's see if there's a mechanism on Orange side. Wards being dropped, and can Rubik get Spell Steal, Wrath of Nature being dropped. Telekinesis is going to get on Morphling, but Morphling is just going to wave out extremely survival with that Lincoln Sphere. I wonder what disabled that Lincoln Sphere. Maybe the fissure was targeted on Mushi or a Shackle Shot Whiffed or something, but Mushi's just going to replicate out, going to farm bot lane, and just a bit of damage going to be casted as RR just casted those Serpent Wards again. Oh, he didn't steal anything. He still has the wards up, and I think it expires. I think it's 3, 4, 5, the duration of how long the spells last. So RR is going to have to get a new spell quite soon. But nice placement of the wards, preventing that tower from dying very, very quickly. So Orange forced to back off, but they picked up a kill on Nando, and they got some more farm. They secured a lot of map control for Mushi, and that's all they really need at this point in the game. Just get Mushi a lot of free farm, because like I said in the late game, I don't really think Mushi will be rivaled by too many heroes. I mean, it's very, very difficult to kill Morphling in the late game, and in conjunction with the Furion on your team, it's just going to be really, really annoying in terms of stopping the Morphling in his pushes. Because I think Morphling is one of those carries who's just extremely annoying. I mean, he's like an anti-mage with a Battle Fury, except more annoying. He can just pop the Mantage and just teleport out with the Replicate anytime he wants. And with the Mantage and with his insane creep clearing ability with the waveform, he can just clear creep waves like very few other carries can. And just provides so much pressure. So Morphling along with Fear just going to be an extreme annoyance for Mineski to be pushed against. Meanwhile, Ice is going to be in a lot of trouble. It's Sprout going to be used to trap his own ally, but the trees are going to be summoned once more. Blanket for Winter. The Avalanche toss is not going to combo, but they're going to be able to toss Winter back. Let's see, Sonic Wave going to be casted, and it managed to hit Ice as well. And looks like Ice is going to take the fall. One more hit, couple more hits. Blink in, toss is going to be able to get the kill, but no, Nando snipes the kill very easily. So Mineski 10-13, clawing their way back into this game. Started 0-5, but just the overall map control is so desperately in Orange's favor. And Mineski is going to really have to find a way. If it's going to be through smoke ganks, if it's going to be into a tower push in the next Roshan engagement, they're picking up support heroes, but they're not really picking up the key heroes. They managed to get a smoke gank on KYXI. He's died twice, but they haven't been able to kill Mushi. They've only been able to get Ice and Winter, and considering Winter is just playing pure support Furin at this point in the game, I mean, he does have the mechanism strength treads, but nothing else. He doesn't have like Urn or Aghanim Scepter or Hanamitis, so killing him is not really too big of a deal. And Furin, once he gets to the late game, he becomes a powerful hero in his own right, just on the merit of his strong skills. And looks like Mineski, they want to get a smoke gank on for Mushi. He does have the Lincoln Sphere. Base 1600 HP, a pretty hefty amount of HP for Morphling. And the Avalanche toss comboing beautifully as looks like Telekinesis and Shadow Shot, but Morph is just doing so much work. He's going to be able to morph a lot of his HP to strength and just gonna start morphing it back into agility. A little bit of a curious situation as he's gonna try to get some attack damage, just doing a very, very low attack damage. As it looks like Roshan is gonna be able to get a blink in to kill Jade right off the bat, and Oa is gonna have to get the heck out of there, but he gets shackled just in place. Let's see, no reinforcements by Orange as Oa might be able to escape. Let's see if a Sprout is gonna be cast by the Furion. Force Staff into the tree bushes things as cooldowns are up as Rasta was not be able to, actually didn't have enough mana to cast the shackle or the hex, so fortunate by Oa to escape. But considering they invested so much time to kill Mushi, considering that they lost a hero in that engagement and they used the smoke time and money to not pick up a kill on Mushi, that's a pretty, it's not a huge loss, but it's going to sap your morale quite a bit, as Woods is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to try to cancel some fissures and the enchant totem damage. Meh. I keep forgetting all these Dota 1 skills, even though they are the exact same skills as they are in Dota 2. But yeah, nice teleport in, nice blink in by Winter and KYXY. Going to be able to pick up this tier 2 tower, and without the Shaker they might be able to push in for the tier 3 tower. Mantis style, no, just an illusion going to be popped by Morphling as Jay blinks it for the blink toss as Nando managed to deny that tower. Nicely done. Nice distraction by Jay to blink in and get the toss damage to just AoE disable, as Nano was able to pick up a very, very easy deny. So let's see how Mineski responds in the face of adversity. Roshan is back up, but they have lost a lot of map control. Only one tier 2 tower left. And meanwhile, on Orange's side, they still have all 3 of their tier 2 towers left. They have lost all of their tier 1 towers. Jay is going to blink in, going to get magic missile. I don't think they'll be able to get too much out of this damage. Let's see if they just try to get some map control going in their way so that Orange can't take an easy Roshan. But keep in mind that Orange has so many options in terms of securing that Roshan ability. And if you've checked on Ghost Gamers Orange Own Dota recently, you've seen NS's blog posts on Roshan, and let me know in the Facebook or on my channel profile what you think of NS's comments on Roshan being too overpowered for how easy it is to kill and how Dire gets an advantage. I think at this point in the game, it's not really necessary to change, and considering that the Radiant and the Dire have even win percentages pretty much all across the board, it's not really too game breaking. As Blink and Shadow Strike, just going to disable that, but very aggressive Blink. I'm not really too sure if he had sight, otherwise he would have been chain disabled very easily. He does have the Lincoln Sphere and the Bracer, so he's pretty tanky, and that Lincoln Sphere will be able to block a Hex or an Enchant or a Magic Missile very easily. But still an aggressive Blink, not really one you expect to see, blinking into your tier 2 tower knowing that the opponents are there. Meanwhile, counter-warding, Enchantress picked up a gem, and this is the power of a not... an Enchantress who actually did stuff in the early game. Either Enchantress is useful early game and becomes pretty relevant in the mid to late game, picks up a lot of HP, or she's she's utterly useless in the late game, or in the early game, and just gets no HP boosting items as a lot of disable is being thrown on Nando. Link Sphere helping disable one of those ice, taking a lot of Mechanism, healing up to nearly full HP. But yeah, Enchantress, there's no real middle ground. He either becomes useless or is just, you know, pretty relevant with how much damage he throws out. As a Shackle Shot lands in, gonna be able to catch Mushi as they're gonna get a Scream of Pain gem, gonna be dropped by the Enchantress. And let's see what they do with this gem. They're gonna try to keep going for ice. Scream Pain, Sonic Wave, Magic Missile stolen by the Rubik, gonna be casted as the Roshan is going to be initiated on once more as Sproutle is going to be casted on too little too late. Ice takes the fall and Mineski is thriving on what they do, the endless never-ending chase fight. They're going to be able to pick up Winter very easily. Nando picks up a triple kill. Nicely done by Mineski with 4 heroes down. They're going to be able to try to push in for the tier 3 high ground as Mushi is the only sole survivor on the orange side. He does have enough money for buyback so they can waveform in and just try to take it up for a buyback. But Mineski just capitalizing on a few small mistakes, just the underestimating the range of initiation, blinks in by Jay, the blink in by Queen of Pain, telekinesis range, which is pretty long range, by the Rubik, and they're going to be able to pick up this tier 2, tier 3 tower, and they might be able to pick up racks. They don't have too much physical damage in terms of supporting that. No, it looks like Mineski, they're not going to be as aggressive as they usually are, recognizing that, okay, I mean, 2 heroes are still dead, but we don't have enough physical damage to get the racks just yet. So save going to be called as Mineski going to regain their footing. I think they might be in the advantage at this point in the game. They haven't killed Mushi, but right now they're doing a nice job in terms of keeping down the sports. And one of the main strategies in dealing with extremely farmed carry is just to kill everybody else on his team and then focus on him. The carry usually won't have enough DPS to kill all 5 of your heroes before you can kill the rest of your team, considering so much farm is being invested into him. But Orange recognizing, okay, we're Scourge, we have Furion, we have Morphling, let's just pop Wrath of Nature, just gonna go and try to get the Roshan kill once more. And I expect Mushi to take this Aegis very easily, if not the Rasta. So, Mineski, they are too far away to reinforce. Orange is just gonna take this Roshan very easily. Nando is just halfway across the map. Let's see what Nando decides to go for. He picks up the point boost. They're gonna go for Aghanim Scepter. And Filipino Queen of Pains are very, very unusual. They don't go for hexes usually. They just go for all-out offense, pure aggression. After the Aghanim Scepter, they like to go for Ethereal Blade, just give them a lot of burst damage. And I mean, this isn't the intended purpose, but if they Ethereal Blade one of your physical DPSers, keep in mind that physical DPSer won't be able to attack, and it's one more thing that goes through Lane Sphere, so gonna have some side bonuses. Of course, that only works if you cast it on the Morphling, but mostly it's gonna be just in an aggressive position, just gonna be able to kill a lot of heroes with the added burst damage of the Ethereal Blade if he decides to go for that. But Aghanim Scepter, level 16, 40-second cooldown, 800 AoE damage, pretty significant considering that Sphere and Rasta are quite squishy as Rasta immediately takes the fall. Ice gonna take the fall once more. Echo Slam being dropped as gonna catch 3 orange heroes out of position. But unfortunately for Mineski, the creepy equilibrium is not favoring them whatsoever. The power of Furion and Morphling gonna be able to keep Mineski back, and then by the time Mineski pushes in for the middle lane, I fully expect the rest of the heroes to be back. But no, it looks like Jay is just gonna whack on the Rex for a little bit of damage, and yeah, it's not regenning whatsoever. As now the Rex regen is starting to kick in, but clearing the creep is very quickly. Mineski gonna try to go for Rex, knowing that, okay, we just killed 3 of their heroes. Creep wave very easy to kill with all of the burst damage heroes we have on our side. So let's see how Orange decides to respond. Unfortunately, the Rex are not gonna be able to be killed as Morphling takes the fall. Aegis of the Immortal gonna be popped as that Rex is starting to regen up very slowly. Winter's gonna be able to TP in as Mineski just succeed in killing Morphling's Aegis and not doing too much. They managed to take off 200 damage, or around 300 damage from the Rax before it started to regen up. And all the orange heroes started to reinforce, but keep in mind, Mineski started out 0 and 5, and then I think it was something like 2 to 10, and now they have the kill advantage, and they clearly have orange on their back foot. I mean, at this point in the game, only Morphling is getting items whatsoever. Winter's doing a nice job. He's been able to pick up a Necrobook level 1, going to help in terms of pushing and just going to be able to identify true sites, going to be able to counter some wards. The gem was killed, that was on Enchantress, so Necrobook this early in the game, it's not going to be irrelevant. I'm not a huge fan of Necrobooks late in the game because they just become a free 200 gold in my opinion, but considering it's not yet 30 minutes and considering that, okay, if you're a pretty squishy hero, it's going to give you some stats. And, I mean, you're going to get bursted down regardless of how much HP you have this or late in game, just by the amount of nukes. If you had that split second to pop the Necrobook, why not? So I'm a pretty firm advocate in this Necrobook in this situation. Meanwhile, Mushi, 219 CS in 30 minutes. Usually the gold standard is getting 200 CS by 28 minutes, and Mushi is clearly near that pace. I think he probably got it if he didn't get some neutral kill. He's going to be able to pick up an Eagle Horn. He's probably going to go for an Ethereal Blade himself, just using that Yasha to give him some additional mobility and stats, as he has 750 gold in the bank, going to be shipping out that Ghost Scepter, and now Mineski has to be careful. Fortunately for them, well, Rubik's pretty squishy, but Queen of Pain extremely tanky. Jay is not going to be one-shotted. Actually, Jay might be one-shotted, no additional strength items. But Morphling is just going to pump out so much magical damage. No Hooded Defiance, no Mechanism on Mineski's side. No, Mechanism is up on the Windrunner. Scratch that, my bad, guys. Will you ever forgive me? Of course not. You guys are all heartless bastards. But you're my heartless bastards. Awkward silence ensues. Meanwhile, just to catch my breath as I've sort of been talking all this time, not your prototypical Filipino game. There's no 2 kills per minute, only 1 kill a minute, which is utterly shocking and horrendous. Clearly, one of the 7 signs of the apocalypse is Mushi's just going to use his wait for him to farm up. And just going to replicate out, farm up some more. Just going to be totally annoying. Going to be able to farm buy back gold very, very quickly if he saves to that. And Mushi is just going to become an out-of-control menace. Let's see how Orange responses. Are they going to pick up a lot of hexes? Or sorry, Mineski. If they're going to pick up a lot of hexes on the Queen of Pain, he has the fish Aghanims. Let's see if he goes for that favorite Ethereal Blade build. I think Filipino Queen of Pains like to go for that when they're in the lead. I'm not really too sure what they like to go for when they're behind. Usually when Queen of Pain is picked up in these games, they usually just go unchecked. As Gem is picked up by Woots, he does have the Blink Dagger, so a lot of mobility on Mineski's side. Could have so many Blink Initiators, and Orange is just going to be really, really careful. Jay gonna blink in, scout, and I think they're realizing, okay, Mushi's a little bit out of control. He just bought a big item in the farming Ethereal Blade. May does not buy back. We should try to do something. And I don't think Mushi does have buyback, so unfortunately for buyback gold cost. So if Mushi dies, I think he might just barely have enough money to buy back. So a little bit unfortunate for Mineski, but they realize, okay, Mushi's just going he's going unchecked. We have to do something. We have to either get Rax advantage or just get more tier 2 towers so we can get a Roshan advantage. So let's see how Orange approaches his next team fight. One thing Mineski is doing really nicely is that they're not losing heroes at all, because they just kill the rest of Morphling's allies before he can really do something. You know, Jay is just brought down to half HP, just going to wait for him up. But fortunately for Mineski, they do have mechanisms, so Jay is going to be able to regen up. Wonder what happened to his bottle. Probably just going to be shipped out once more. Yep, bottle is still on the Crow. Just constantly getting that regen up for Tiny. So Morphling doing that Ethereal Blade, not doing too much. But now we see the annoyance of Furion. God, this hero is so annoying to play against. He just pushes all your lanes, and there's not really too much he can do. But fortunately for Mineski, the lanes are probably not going to be able to be pushed fast enough so that their tier 3 tower is going to be too threatened. So they'll be able to get some damage on the Rax, try to take the Rax. Let's see how Winter responds. Is going to try to get a Rax trade, or if Mineski is just going to retreat out, and Winter is just going to keep pushing. Winter teleports in, he summons some more creeps, and now Mineski has to make a very, very difficult decision. Do we try to take advantage of Orange's weaknesses? Their supports are pretty squishy, we can do a lot of damage to them, or should we defend our base? And I think right now, Orange is doing a nice job in terms of defending their base and keeping the creepy cover on the top lane in favor of them, and going to be able to usher them away. As 2 Necrobooks being picked up. I didn't even notice that KYX I picked up a Necrobook. Necrobook level 2, we see double the warriors, and this is pretty useful as we see Mushi blink in, gonna trade his life for Oa. And if Mushi is dead, is Mushi have buyback gold? He does have buyback gold. Let's see if Mineski falls to the bay. They did lose a winner, they lost their mechanism carrier. Oa just makes a little bit of a sad face. But I think they're just buying time for this tier 3 tower. Unfortunately for Orange, that tier 3 tower did not take too much damage whatsoever. Mushi, buy back, bro. Mushi does buy back. He's going to be able to teleport in, but nice, huge Echo Slam being dropped by the Earthshaker Woods as they're going to be able to pick off KOXI immediately, but fortunately for KOXI, he did drop the wards before he died. Meanwhile, Nando taking a lot of damage. Woots died and Mushi died once more, so killing Mushi twice, no buyback, and now is Mineski's opportunity, losing Mushi twice in that single engagement. Just nice initiation by the Earthshaker, just doing so much damage. Gonna be able to prevent that, but curiously, Mineski's is not going to be able to push in, and now we see the power, or the unfortunate side effect of losing your winner, your mechanism carrier, this early on in the push. Not going to be able to keal up, but meanwhile, Winter caught out a little bit unawares. A little bit of misplay by Winter, as we're going to see a Centaur being dropped, even though they do have a gem on their side. Oh, they're just going to need the gem because they know gem is too important to risk. So a little bit of a small, subtle play by Orange, but a play I really appreciate because, I mean, Mineski's just doing a nice job in terms of, okay, blink in, kill everything. You have like literally less than a second to live. And now Winter comes in, has the mechanism to reinforce. So they're going to be able to pick up this middle Rex. And after the huge deficit Mineski was in, they picked up Mushi very, very quickly. So mistakes by Orange and Mineski just doing what they usually do best, which is just getting a mistake and just completely running away with how much damage they can do. But meanwhile, Tiny does the Cyclone to himself, and meanwhile Nando was able to pick off KYXI. Mushi picks up the kill on Jay with that Ethereal Blade. But no matter, they did lose both of their middle racks. Mushi does have 260 CS, and considering he died twice and lost a buyback, that's not going to be too important. Just check out the gold he lost really fast. It was about 1,200 for him to buy back. No, it's 1,200 right now, so it's probably about 1,050 gold for him to buy back. And just seeing the gold loss, he's lost 1,400 gold, so that's pretty. That's around like 50 CS that he's lost in terms of the buyback. So this 264 CS is a little bit misleading. But keep in mind that I think still in the late game, if the orange supports are able to get tanky enough, and if Mushi keeps going unchecked, just going to be able to keep up the map control, as Winter just completely caught out unawares. The Serpent Ward is being stolen once more by RR, going to be able to get a kill on Winter, as Orange, they are recognizing, okay, we're in the deficit now. What should we do, guys? They're realizing, okay, support's too squishy to handle all of this burst damage. Mushi is barely able to handle all of this burst damage, and considering he went for the extremely squishy shotgun Morphling build, which really relies on you having low strength and just the amount of magical damage that's pumped through your veins against the Morphling, that means that you're not going to have enough strength to help buffer out and just not avoid getting bursted down. So I'm not really too sure if Ethereal Blade was the smartest decision for Mushi. It's going to be nice in terms of just one-shotting 1 hero, but then if you lose your Morphling, your team is pretty much screwed because he is the primary farm. But Aegis and Cheese giving to Mushi, I like the decision. He's going to be able to go for a shotgun, die with an Aegis, or pop the Cheese if he gets bursted down, and I'm going to be able to shotgun once more, and he'll still have one of the items left over if their team has not won the team fight at this point. But meanwhile, Mineski doing a nice job. Just look at the overall map positioning. At one point we saw Orange controlling all of this space. Unfortunately, this is not Dota 2, so you cannot see me draw on the lines. But at one point in the match, Orange is controlling so much of the map. Meanwhile, now we see Orange being heavily pressured, and this is a clear indication that Mineski's pressure and that their massive amount of initiation and mobility is getting to Orange, and they were able to pick up a lot of supports. But fortunately for Orange, they're picking up a lot of gold from the Roshan, and wards being dropped preemptively. No, those are RR's wards dropped very, very aggressively, just going to be used to... I don't really know the deal with those wards. Maybe they were going on cooldown, but even then, it's still free gold for Orange. It didn't even do 100 damage to that tier 3 tower. So not really too sure what the deal with those wards were. But meanwhile, we see Furin just being very annoying. But fortunately for Mineski, again, the creepy equilibrium is going to be in favor of them. Furin will have to push a long time before he gets to that tier 3 tower on the bottom lane. And considering that tier 3 tower is still at 3/4 HP, Furin won't be able to take that down. Meanwhile, Mineski just gonna keep in the jungle, keep in the lanes, and just gonna do a nice job in terms of pushing back. But meanwhile, they're gonna try to pick off Jay. Jay is a little bit out of position. He does have the Yule Scepter Divinity, has a lot of escape mechanism with the 4-stat Blink and Yule Scepter. So Tiny not gonna go for that standard prototypical, not really prototypical, just the heroic build, which is just to go for a lot of physical damage and get the Aghanim Scepter and just go absolutely ape shit on your buildings. But rather just gonna go for the standard mobile Tiny build. As Queen Pain gonna blink it, gonna try to pick off KYXI. Screen Pain gonna be dropped once more as the ward's gonna be dropped by KYXI, recognizing, okay, I'm pretty much boned, might as well drop out my ward. It's gonna be able to get a little bit of reinforcement. Nando is gonna try to blink in, and the Ethereal Blade did 493 damage, but Nando's still at 1 THP. He does have the BKB, he already used the BKB rather, so I think Morphling might have been able to go in and get the blink initiation. And let's see how long KOXI has to respawn. He does not have enough money for buyback, and he's going to be dead for another 30 seconds. So now is Mineski's chance. If they get the racks, they pretty much have this game in the bag. Let's see how they handle this situation. They're going to blink in, going to try to get Extinct. Extinct pretty tanky with that Cloak of Defiance. Meanwhile, Extinct does take the fall with the backup support of the Screen of Pain. We see the power of Aghanim Scepter as the 40-second cooldown doing a nice job in terms of just killing the enchanters very, very easily. But now KYXI is going to start to respawn, and Jay is pretty low HP. Mechanism is probably on cooldown, and Jay bottle is empty, so he won't be able to go as balls deep as he usually likes to. Meanwhile, Nando is pretty low HP as well. I don't really know if Mineski should be pushing. They're just doing a lot of pressure, and the good thing about Mineski's lineup is that they have a lot of escape mechanisms, so they can just do a lot of baiting, just feign a lot of pressure. Meanwhile, we see Furin finally reaching that tier 3 tower, and considering that a lot of heroes on Mineski's side were low HP, they're just going to back off. Meanwhile, let's check out the gold, guys. Mushi, fortunate for him, has not died since that abyssal buyback, death buyback. And he does have the H still, he does still have the cheese. He managed to pick up a match style, but he already had the Yasha for quite a while. You saw that he had the Yasha even before he picked up the Eagle Horn, and his farm is definitely slowed down. He had around 220 CS by the 30-minute mark, but it's only gone up by 100 in this last couple minutes. Meanwhile, Winter's starting to spam that Wrath of Nature. Let's see what items he's picked up. He has a Necro 3 along with the mechanism. Let's see if Vengeful Spirit goes for a Necro 3 once more as Jay takes the fall. My bad, guys. I'm missing a lot of kills on Jay especially. As R is going to have to retreat. The power shot going to be able to usher away as they're going to try to get in position for Roshan. I think Roshan still has a couple more minutes before he respawns. So I think with Jay's death, Mineski just going to have to keep on the map control. Unfortunately for them, they do have the 40-second cooldown on the Screen Pain, so they can clear massive creative plays extremely, extremely easily. As Blinked by Rubik, going to be able to try to kill a KYXY as just in the blink of an eye, he dies. And this is a problem with this type of game. The reason why I'm missing so many kills is that heroes are literally dying in less than a second. We saw Rubik die in less than a second, and we saw KYXI die in about 1.5 seconds. Just insane damage being pumped out, insane burst damage being pumped out. So I think you have to forgive me if I miss a couple kills here and there, as just so much damage being thrown out both ways. And I maintain, if Mineski still let this go late game, Orange hypothetically should have the advantage. But keep in mind, Orange is a team that can sometimes give up leads. They are invited to the International 2. They're a very competent team. They've been performing very well in Dota 2, but I don't really recall the last time they played Dota 1. Maybe last month's GEST, even though they were the defending champions. I think they put a lot of training into Dota 2 recently, so let's see how they respond. I mean, at this stage of the game, it's pretty much the same. There's no, like, fear and attack animations or anything like that. There's no barrier in the game, so at this point in the game, it's pretty much similar. Excuse me. We're going to see a double damage winner come in. Only level 16 is going to go for the Ultra, going to go for the Hex. Let's see how Nando's going to go. He's not going to go for the Ethereal Blade. He picked up that BKB as you saw earlier. The Lot Initiation going to go in for the Illusion of KYXY. Going to be able to immediately burst down J. Nice counter blinking in by KYXY. As Swap going to go in, try to get a kill on the Rubik, who does that blink dagger, just immediately blinks out. But killing J once more. Orange is buying themselves more and more time. But now Nando's going to pressure that top racks even more, but he's not going to be able to do too much damage. Nando picks up the Hex, and as is prototypical Pinoy Dota, no money for buyback on anybody, just going to go all out for their items. And right now, I think they still have the lead. I mean, they have a lot of map control on this side of the map. They do have mid lane and barracks, but I'm not really too sure what Woots is doing. Good trade of Earthshaker for a Rasta kill. I'm not really too sure you want to do this late in the game, considering KYXI is being killed so often in these games, and meanwhile you're just feeding Mushi. He's unstoppable at this point in the game. Cheese was given or used. Probably Mushi had to use it in engagement, as you know, the amount of burst damage on both sides is just incredible. But he does have another 3,300 gold in the bank. Let's see if he goes for Butterfly or go for Scotty. I wouldn't be too surprised if he go for straight Scotty in this game, but having a Butterfly wouldn't be too bad. Going to give him even more agility to pump up that shotgun. But having more stats to play around with is going to be able to help survive a couple more burst damage, get the Lincoln Sphere proc, and just, you know, be overall more tanky, which is what you want your Morphling to do, considering the Aegis is still dead. Meanwhile, Nando is on the prowl, going to try to pick up a solo kill. I'm not really too sure if he can. This Treant's doing a nice job in terms of scouting, and without the Ethereal Blade, I'm not really too sure if Nando can just blink in, just insta-kill, as looks like Extinct might be the first one to fall, but no, Mushi comes in with teleportation. BKB popped at the Ethereal Blade, going to get swapped out once more. He does have another blink cooling down very, very soon. Let's see if he gets a blink out. No! Nando dies! No buyback. Huge chance for Orange. Going to be able to pick up the next Roshan very, very easily, or just going to try to push in for mid-racks. Nando is dead for 80 seconds, and if Orange knows Pinoy Dota, they recognize, okay, he doesn't have buyback. Let's just go for it, guys. I think this might be the start of an Orange comeback, and I don't even think Orange was ever down by too much. I think in the mid-game when Tiny was starting to get a little bit annoying and Queen of Pain was just starting to go on her overall rampage, then Mineski had the clear advantage, but I don't think they've really shut Orange down too much. And now we see Morphling still has Aegis that is going to do damage so quickly. But I think in 50 seconds, as we see Jay being initiated on, going to get shackled, wards being dropped as well, Jay being caught out of position, Mineski just being... This map positioning by Mineski is really puzzling. We saw Woots just die in trade for KYXI over there. We saw Jay dive right here. We saw Nando dying in the middle of Orange's jungle. Just the map positioning by Mineski not really too strong in this situation. Just giving Orange too many opportunities. I mean, sometimes it works out for Mineski, but that's only if they catch the other team in position, if they have 2 or 3 heroes of their own. Meanwhile, Jay does have buyback. He's going to buy back and just going to help weather this storm. And Orange recognizes, okay, we still have the late game. We still have Mushi farming up pretty much uncontested, as he does have so much agility. Going to be able to get the next Roshan, as I think he does have it on the timer. Going to pop the Morphling illusions, as the Aegis is going to time out very shortly. Still has a lot of gold in the bank, and once he picks up this Aegis, he's going to be able to buy his next huge item. He has around 5.7k gold in the bank, 365 CS, so in the last 5 minutes he's picked up around 60 to 70 creep kills and picked up very more hero kills. That was not good English. I apologize. Luminous is rubbing off on me, guys, in more ways than one. Oh, that sounds so wrong, as Extinct is in a huge amount of trouble. Was not able to survive all that burst damage. Let's see, Morphling was just able to solo kill that Roshan. Gonna be able to pick up both the Aegis and the Cheese. He's gonna try to blink in. Meanwhile, only 1 kill going in favor of Mineski, and now they're cut out of position. Let's see if they can get a couple kills on Mushi. Gonna be able to spend his Aegis. No, Cheese is gonna be able to pop. Magic Wand just doing work as Mushi picks up a monster kill. He still has the Cheese. Echo Slam being dropped on 3 heroes as Aegis is popped, but keep in mind, she still has the Cheese. As KYXI takes the next fall, and Mineski just going to try to run circles around. And now an unfortunate blink by Nando. I think Mushi will be able to pick up the kill. Yes, 1 more kill being picked up by Mushi. Mushi going godlike, going to replicate it out, going to be able to try to get a kill on Woots. Woots the Earthshaker, you got to get out of there. Mushi morphing all his stats back into agility. Still has the Cheese, still has so much gold, 7k gold in the bank. And now Mineski are in huge trouble. And I think Nando not having buyback, just going all out aggressive, might be a decision that's going to cost them the game. Yeah, Nando not having buyback and just going all out aggressive. Only managed to pick up KYXI and the Aegis on Mushi, and they lost the Tiny and the Queen of Pain, both of their primary farmers, for pretty much just the Rasta, who can just drop Serpent Wards. Rasta doing a nice job in terms of always dropping Serpent Wards, even though he's the primary focus of these target and his engagements. And Mushi just saving gold for buyback and just not going to buy an item right off the bat. It still has sufficient physical damage to help burst down his tower. 300 physical damage in the bank. As Mushi's getting burst down quite heavily, not doing a nice job in terms of chaining the disables and chaining the burst damage. May not enough burst damage to go around with the death of Queen of Pain. Mushi pops the cheese, going to be able to pick up the mid racks. Pretty much uncontested. No, just the residual amount of damage as Mushi's starting to pump his stats into strength. And they're going to pick up the middle barracks, and now they're going to get out a nice shackle shot catching 2 heroes. They're going to be able to pick off Ice. Let's see if they can pick off Extinct as well. No, Mushi's going to go back on the offensive. Nando's respawning in about 10 seconds. Going to try to nuke down the Rubik. No, Woots is going to be able to get the Chainstone Replicate out by the Morphling. He's going to get the heck out of there. Oh, I realized something, guys. That was the other cheese that Mushi popped. He picked up, I think the cheese was on the crow this whole time. You recognize in that last engagement, in the last Roshan, Mushi picked up both the cheese and Aegis twice. And that was the second cheese, and now we see Mushi still has a cheese. He's going to be pretty comfortable in buying this next item, as I think that's pretty much why Mushi was going so aggressive. Unfortunately for them, they lost Ice and the Extinct Enchantress. Enchantress does have enough money for buyback, and Vegestrate does not, but KOX is going to respawn. Meanwhile, Nando is back. He was out of that team fight this whole engagement, so now is Mineski's chance. They're 1 down. Let's see what item Mushi picked up. He's just going to save for buyback. He picked up a completed Eye of Scotty. Still enough money for buyback, and Mushi just completely out of control in this game. Just going to be able to pump out so much damage as well as be insanely tanky, and the power of Agility Morph going to be able to dish out around 400 damage in terms of his 450 damage in terms of his stats, and has 50 armor to boot, 40 armor to boot. So they're not going to be able to kill this Morphling unless he Ethereal Blades and just gets nuked down after that, which might be the opening Mineski is going to hope for. And now Mineski realizes, okay, Mushi is out of control. We didn't really do enough in terms of stopping him. We just killed his teammates, which was a good strategy. Like I said earlier, one of the strategies in shutting down the carry, just kill all his teammates. But I think those just poor positioning in terms of map, Woots being cut out right here with Nando, even though Nando was able to escape, you just got to trade there, but losing your Earthshaker when you're ahead is not really a good thing. You really rely on that burst damage initiation. Meanwhile, Nando cut out right here, used a BKB charge as well. Jay caught out here, bought back, and they still couldn't even save their middle barracks. Now Mineski, I think they're on the back foot. They did lose their middle barracks. They're going to try to smoke up, try to get 1 kill. I think Orange are wising up. They're only sending Mushi in front to get the farm, and he does have a replicate back in base, very, very far away. Meanwhile, Mineski, they recognize, okay, nobody's in jungle. Let's try to get a small bit of pushing going down. But we see Mushi immediately retreat, and now Furion is becoming ever so annoying. Just going to be able to push every creep wave across the map with the global Wrath of Nature. He's pretty far in this point in game, just going all out. Support, utility, survivability, picked up the Pipe of Insight along with the Necro 3 and the Mechanism. Meanwhile, Venture Spirit has not picked up too much, still picked up a Cloak, which is going to do a lot in terms of reducing physical burst damage. You know, Rasta picked up a Necro 3 as well. Going to be pretty tanky, and keep in mind, Earthshaker blinks in. If he kills 2 of those illusions, they're going to do so much burst, pure damage to him. He's going to be in a lot of trouble, just dropping fissures immediately. As who killed that? No, looks like the we saw Woot, Woots killed that Necro 3, loses 600 HP. Meanwhile, Mushi doing a nice job in terms of always saving for buyback. 4k gold in bank, might even be able to pick off a smaller tier 1 item or something. Yeah, might even get like a Talisman Invasion. He'll still have money for buyback if he does get that. Swap gonna go in for Earthshaker. A huge amount of burst damage will be lost if they do that, but double force staff's gonna be enough in terms of swapping them away, as Winter gonna be popped, avoiding a lot of Mushi's physical burst damage. And with that, Orange, they did drop the ward, so that's a little bit wasted, but wards in this lane game not gonna be too much, as Woot's gonna be able to drop the Echo Sub, but immediately gets killed by Mushi. Ice dies as well. KWX Light and Ice being the first one to fall. Owa's gonna be surely the next one to fall. No, Owa is gonna force tap himself out with the TP. Nicely done by Owa. recognizing, okay, no stuns, no pushes, and I just pop winner, I won't die. Nicely done, as Mushi might be in a little bit of trouble getting so much damage thrown at him, but he pops the second cheese. Gonna go back on the offensive, gonna try to pick off Jay. Jay's gonna be able to blink out. No, he pops Cyclone. He might be able to blink out. No! Cyclone is 2.5 seconds, Blink Dagger cooldown is 3 seconds, and now we see Scotty just doing so much work. Nando is forced to pop the BKB. It's down to 5 seconds. He's gonna blink out, but now Mushi's on the warpath. He's gonna keep going in. Nando should be able to blink out once more. No, he drops a Shadow Strike. He's gonna try to get the Hex. He's gonna try to kill Mushi. If he manages to kill, no, he recognizes. All right, now enough physical damage. Waveform is gonna miss. Ethereal Blade gonna be popped once more, as the Ethereal Blade just doing a lot of work to Nando. But overall, 2 for 2. They didn't even use a buyback for Mushi. But nice escape by OWA. Just going to be able to escape the clutches of death just barely. So, Mineski's still in this, showing a lot of signs of life. They showed they have the necessary capabilities to kill the Morphling. But right now, I think they're still down. They do have a kill advantage. But it's all going to come down to this Rex Roshan. All the cheeses have been used. All the cheeses have been consumed. They have been mangé, which is French for eat. I don't know if that's the past tense for eat. But anyway, they have all been eaten. Boots of Child being picked up by Morphling. A nice item by going to be able to give him a lot more mobility while still going to give him enough money for buyback. Just going to get those smaller items, so he still always has enough money for buyback. Meanwhile, Nando's going to keep pushing in. Let's see if he has money for buyback. He does have enough money for buyback, and I think Nando realizes, okay, if I die once more, the game's over. And if I don't have buyback, the game's over. I'll be dead for 95 seconds. They're easily going to be able to push down a lot of towers in lanes, and I think no item will be as important as a buyback is, because if I get a huge item and, you know, we manage to kill a lot of heroes, but I still die in the process, or even if I get a huge item and we can get a team wipe, Morphling always has a buyback, so we won't be able to get 2 racks. Meanwhile, if I die, we pretty much lose. So, nice recognition by Nando. Going to be able to save enough money for buyback, because if he dies without buyback, they lose, like I mentioned 500 times in these past 10 seconds, which is not even humanly possible.
A player's forces are under attack.
Let's go, voice. Keep up with me, man. Meanwhile, Jay is just completely shut down in terms of his item progression. 1700 gold in the bank, defensive fissure being dropped. Let's check out the multitude of crows. No items in the bank for the crow. Jay is completely broke. And the item progression, my winner picked up a hand of Midas as well. Going to be able to enchant the creeps and kill some of the Necro Books as well. They're just going to windrun away from that. Necro Book level 3, as the Hex finished by the windrunner player. Going to do a nice job, as you see the range creep killing and then immediately falling in that engagement and gets Necro 3 Warrior. So Windrunner getting some nice items. Meanwhile, Woots unfortunately has just been able to blink in and die pretty much. So no item progression by him. Nando saving money for buyback, like I previously mentioned. Rubik picked up a Ghost Scepter, and it's a pretty good item. I mean, it's going to block Impetus damage, it's going to block a lot of Furian's auto attack damage, so it's going to do a lot in terms of helping survive. But Morphling with that 10-second cooldown on Adaptive Strike is not going to have too much trouble. Meanwhile, Nando is going to blink in, going to get Hex, going to try to get Chain Stun. Yes, if Nando is going to die, he's going to have to use his buyback immediately. Nando buys back. Let's see if they're going to try to get some pressure in. No, he's just going to teleport in. He doesn't have enough money to buy back, sell treads, go for Boots of Travel, and then get a tower. So Mineski, they're just going to put a little bit of damage on this physical tower. Are they seriously going to commit this? They have 3 heroes. They're committing to it. This might be a huge mistake. They're going to try to kill Mushi. No, they're going to back off. Defensive fissures being dropped all around. Jay blinking in once more gets Hex. Impetus doing so much damage, and Mushi just going on an absolute spree. Gonna try to pick off the Rubik once more. Impetus doing plus 307 damage as well. Why did Mineski commit? Nando was not in sight. I guess they want to distract, but Orange, they're too smart of a team to just fall for that easy bait. And Nando's just gonna not even be able to kill that top Rex, or even kill Mushi for that matter. Why did Mineski commit? They had 4 people here, and they had Nando teleport in here, nowhere near them, and still they committed a lot of heroes. Maybe they thought, alright, we have so much ability, let's just do 100 damage to that tower, just do any bit of damage we can, as E-Blade combined with a massive amount of burst damage by the Morphling. They're going to do a lot of damage for Morphling, but Morphling is just going to get away. Nando is just going to have to blink out. But again, I don't know why Mineski committed to that tower on this lane. They lost 2 heroes in that engagement. They lost the Rubik as well
Player's
as
forces are under
the
attack.
Tiny, who I think bought back. Now he has 0 gold in the bank. He's going to be dead for another 1 minute. Orange is going to pick up this Roshan, and now it's not looking good for Mineski, guys. I know a lot of you are Mineski fans. I'm a pretty big fan of Mineski. I think I cast too many of their games, but no, they always make games interesting. This is not the prototypical Pinoy 2 kill per minute. Orange is just doing a nice job. They recognize, okay, we made mistakes in the early mid game, but now if Mineski's clearly caught up position, and I think this is where Mineski falters. If it goes too late, they just have some momentary brain lapses. I've seen it in a couple of the Chinese games. They can make comebacks like we saw in the Stars Boba game, but I think a lot of that was Stars Boba mistake as well. And Mushi picking up the Aegis or the cheese, gonna sell those treads and get another item in the bank. Gonna be really, really difficult to kill. Always has enough money for buyback. Mushi just playing very, very intelligently. After that momentary brain lapse, after he picked up the early E-Blade, Aegis picked up, cheese being picked up by the Xiao Xiao, and has 2 Ogre Axes, so he's gonna be able to. He has 2 Ogre Axes in his hand, just gonna dual wield those axes, gonna do mad DPS to the Mineski side. But one of those is for BKB, one of those for Aghanim Scepter. May just wants those as they're just gonna do a little bit of funny clone on clone, Rost on Rosta's hot action gonna go down. I'm going a bit delirious right now because solo casting this long is not good for your health. But yeah, Mushi always having enough money for buyback to sell those treads, Scream Pain being dropped, and Mushi says, okay, I clear creep waves faster than your Scream Pain Sonic Wave does anyway. You know, I wonder what Mushi will do. He's just gonna save up, gonna wait for his Aegis to die, maybe sell the Manta Style as the Replicate followed Rost around, gonna pick off loots pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And one thing about Orange is that they've always had wards up this whole game. Even now they still have 4 wards up. So Orange doing a nice job. Jay gonna get chain stun. Let's see if he pops the yellows. He's gonna force staff himself away. Not canceling the blink dagger because it doesn't do that anymore as the creeps do that, but blinks in the middle of KYXI as Mineski is completely falling apart at this point in the game. Meanwhile, Mushi is gonna try to get a kill on RR, but unfortunately E-Blade Chicken taking a lot of damage from the Sonic Wave, but that's it, as Queen of Pain is going to have to BKB TP out of there. Mushi still survives, still has Aegis, and even if he does lose Aegis, I don't think he'd mind. I mean, you just get a tier 4 item, just have enough money for buyback and TP back in anyway. But yeah. Or Mineski just completely falling apart in this stage of the game. I mean, Mineski, they had a 5-kill lead advantage, now they're back down by 3. Getting completely caught out position over and over. I think Orange can just go for the GG push. Orange Mushi, 520 CS. Check out his neutrals really fast. He only has 27 neutrals, so about 550 in an hour. Probably around 8 or 9 CS per minute. Ridiculous farm by Mushi. And thus is the power of Morphling. Extremely mobile character who can farm creep waves in the blink of the eye, as looks like he's going to try to TP and going to try to help out his allies, but maybe with help of Winter and those Necrobooks, they're just doing a lot of physical damage, and Tantris is just doing huge physical damage, and now these supports of Orange are tanking up to survive the initial onslaught, and Jay being dead is going to be a huge crushing blow in terms of helping that. Focus Fire being dropped, going to try to kill Rasta KYXY. He does have the cheese. Can he pop it? No, he gets daggoned by the Winner. Just in the nick of time. Dagon level 3. Did not even see he picked that up. Going to do a nice job in terms of supporting that, and Mushi's creep being killed as he BOT'd in. KOXY being dead should not prove to be game-breaking, but if Extinct dies once more, it might give Mineski the opening they want in terms of pushing down the tower. Gonna get Blink tossed Avalanche once more, and now Mushi's gonna come in for the reinforcements. Orange is gonna go back on the offensive. Mushi's just gonna TP and gonna get the Ghost Scepter. It gets dodged nicely by the damage being dodged nicely by Jay, Tiny, Yo's Scepter, Divinity, Shackle Shot just being whipped. Now they're going to try to go on the offensive, going to try to kill Mushi. If they kill Mushi and waste his buyback, that might be Orange's chance. No, he still has Aegis. I completely forgot. Going to get Force Staff in. Winter might be in a little bit of trouble. No, Winter is tanky and a lot of disables and nukes were already used. Woods is going to be the next one to fall. Insane amount of action going down. Strength being morphed in by the Morphling. He does not want to have to use his buyback. Buyback cooldown is going to be the huge issue, not the buyback cost. As slowly but surely, Mineski's whittling down the HPs. Nice swap in by Ice, baby, with the veins. ice in his veins. How many ice puns can I make? Not many more as he gets a crucial swap out. Gonna save that buyback cooldown. Let's see, Nando is gonna try to, he just blinks out. So, nice recovery by Mineski. Gonna pick off 2 kills, kill the Aegis as well. And Mushi's gonna teleport out. He has 10k gold and then gonna be able to pick up a tier 4 item and have enough money for back. He might even pick up a rapier if he wants. You know, he's going to go for the butterfly out. Nice choice. Going to give him even more agility to play around with for the shotgun build. Give him even more armor because at this point in the game, physical attacks hurt. As focus fire, between the pain attacks, they hurt. Not as much as their burst damage, but they still hurt nonetheless. So butterfly and buyback up for Morphling, and he does not have too much more item progression. He can make might sell Lincolns for BKB or something like that, or just constantly save out for buyback. Can even sell Manta for like freaking Bariza. I don't know. Manta might be too invaluable in terms of helping him survive for all the nukes. His illusions are pretty tanky in this point in the game. They have a lot of armor, and if they're slightly strength morph, they can do quite a amount of work. As initiation going on Winter, Blink Avalanche, no toss gonna go down, not chaining the burst damage properly, as Winter is going to be able to pipe up, mech up, gonna blink in, allow his teammates to reinforce. Force staff, just so much initiation. We see Rubik travel 10 miles in the blink of an eye. So Mineski unable to do much with the blink initiation that they could get. The 2 heroes being dead. Unfortunately, they're gonna have to back off. Jay and Rubik are going to have to back off. Nando is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Can he blink out? He does blink out in the nick of time. But unfortunately, they just follow the path of the mana burn. Going to try to kill Nando. No, Nando is going to be able to escape. Boots of Child going to be able to escape. And now Orange is saying, alright, we're tired of playing with you guys. Let's just end it as RR completely caught out. Was this TP on cooldown? Why was RR caught out? I think TP was on cooldown when he doesn't have enough money for buyback. Meanwhile, Earthshaker going to try to do some creep equilibrium damage, but now Orange is going to go in for the GG push. Now Mushi is going to try to do some split pushing in. Only Rubik is dead, so Mineski, if they can kill all 4 of these heroes, they could get some reinforcements in, considering Morphling did use BOT's cooldown already, but no, Morphling doing a nice job always keeping a replicate with his team. Morphling is one of the most annoying heroes in the game, just because of his replicate. As a force staff, swap initiation, mental spirit, ice doing so much work with these huge swaps. Huge swaps, bruh. As they immediately kill Oa, removing the hex from the equation, and now Earthshaker is just gonna have to back off. And I think Orange have this in the bag. More damage being pumped out. Jay is the next one to fall. Nando is going to fall once more. Buys back all in vain as Orange, they're going to ride out the advantage. Orange making a nice comeback when losing mid-racks around 30 minutes into the game. And wasting a buyback on Mushi and after he died once more. But we see the power of the Roshan advantage. NS might be a little bit right in this situation. Scourge always has the map control for the Roshan, just doing so much in terms of keeping Orange in the game. Going to be able to kill RR in the fountain as Superman Mushi going to be nice manners by Mineski, knowing Mushi because they are friends. I think Mushi visits the Philippines quite frequently. As GG is being called by Mineski, as it's pretty friendly banter coming in, as that's going to be the end of that. So nicely done by Orange and Mushi. Nice game, as I think just the amount of times Mineski caught her position really came back to the bite them. Mushi always having 10k gold in the bank, being pretty ridiculous. 600 CS in about 70 minutes. Ridiculous farm, 8 or 9 CS per minute, and only dying 3 times. Yeah, since that death buyback death, he didn't die at all in those engagements. So Mushi just carrying his team to victory. Mineski helping him out, just being caught out of position so many times, and I think that's what really came back to bite them. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed this commentary. Going to leave you with this scar screen so you can check it out. This might be the last GEST replay I cast. There might be one more Dota 1 game I cast, but I do have a Dota 2 series that I'd like to cast. And anyway, I figured out how to stream, so I'm going to try to stream more. My stream is twitch.tv/bballin773. Follow me on Twitter so you can check it out, and always keep supporting, keep subscribing, keep watching, and spread the word. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this commentary. My bad for missing the kills, but you have to excuse me. Heroes died literally in the blink of an eye, in less than a second, several times over. So hopefully you'll be able to excuse me a bit on that, but hopefully you all enjoyed this Dota 1 game. I'm going to be able to bring you more Dota 2 content in the future, so thank you all for watching, and have a fantastic night.